welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the comic books I picked up this week for New Comic Book Day, October 23rd. First, the two things that I grabbed to actually talk about last week. I bought these two digitally because I didn't get to the shop last week, but I did pick up the physical copy. So Destro number 5 and Falling in Love in the Path to Hell number 5. So that's what I read last week. I checked for the Batman Robin Year One, the Mark Waid Chris Samnee issue. That is, it was sold out, which was great problem to have. But it is on the DC Universe Infinite app, so I'm going to read that, and then maybe I'll talk about it when issue 2 comes out. So, all right. So the other thing I picked up that was on my radar before, actually the shop owner talked about this title. Skin Police from I want to say it's from Oni Press. It's written by Jordan Thomas and the artist is Daniel Gate. It's Gete. Daniel Getty. Geet. I no clue. But yeah, the colorist is Jason Wordy. Not a creative team that I was familiar with, but you know I looked at the issue when it was on the shelf at the store, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting, and I just didn't grab it. I came back the next week and they were sold out, so I added it to my pull list and ordered a copy online. So this came in this week, and it's a fun sci-fi story. It's got some elements of Blade Runner to it, whereas there's this kind of police force who are. It's set in a world where there was it's called a fertility pandemic, so people weren't able to have kids. So there was a time when they were cloning the parents and creating babies from the clones, and years later they kind of find out that the clones there's the high probability of the clone becoming unstable and then kind of goes crazy and becomes a murderous. They said. A vicious homicidal monster. So there's the synopsis in front of it. But yeah, so I thought it was a fun premise. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the art style. There's I don't know how to. I mean, it's not fully all red, but I get some all red vibes in this in the art. Just not fully. I mean, not. It just when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I bet you he would do a fun. A cool variant cover or something like that. But I enjoyed this. I thought this was really fun. I like being introduced to a new world, and okay, this is the premise, and we're gonna take it from there. So the first issue has promise. So looking forward to. I think it might be a mini series. I'm not sure. That's the thing. It never really says. I mean, at least it never says on the. On the comic itself, maybe in the solicitations that says one of 4 or one of whatever, but yeah, I don't know, but I will happily check out issue 2. So we'll talk about that when that comes in. So that's now on my pull list, just because I was looking for another, just another fun, different kind of comic. So all right. So next up, actually there are only two new issues that came out this week, but I have 5 comic books here. Variant covers. All right. So first, we'll talk about Frankenstein. Issue number 3. Michael Walsh is doing the art and the story, and this continues to be so fun. I'm a huge fan of the original Frankenstein film. This whole series is just weaved into the plot of that movie. It adds context. It adds context that I didn't know that I would be interested in finding out about, and it's where the body parts are coming from, where Henry Frankenstein is doing getting the body parts from, and you see that some of the reasons as to some of the explanations to some of the Frankenstein's monster, some of his character traits, and you see where some of those maybe come from. So. It's been really, really fun. I think it's only a four issue series, so the next one is done. But the other thing, I also picked up the Francesco Francavilla variant cover. This is a series of connecting covers. It goes all through 1 through 4, so had to grab that one as well, just because I love his art. It's hanging up in this room. There's a Planet of the Apes, and I've got other ones as well. So, all right, the next issue I picked up was The Moon is Following Us, issue 2, and I picked up both covers by Riley Rossimo and Danny Warren Johnson. Now, again, I talked about some of the variant covers, and then do I need to do those? And not really. But the way that this book is set up, the fact that the art duties are split between Riley and, I mean, Riley is doing most of the art, but this issue was a Danny Warren Johnson heavy issue, because you kind of you learn about the real world setup that gets us to the events that the world that you see in issue 1. But anyway, I just feel like having the way that the art duties are, having covers from each of them just makes sense, because they're very different, and I really enjoy them. So all right, so to talk about the issue itself, so I think I talked about it in when I talked about the first issue. I thought it was a good start. I wasn't quite like really hooked with the first issue. I thought it was an interesting premise, an interesting start. I asked questions as to what it's all about, and you get, I think, all of that in issue 2. So I thought issue 1 was a good setup, and then issue 2 really gets the emotional hooks in you, and I'm on board for sure with this one. And actually, right before I was going to sit down and film this, Danny Warren Johnson was doing his Friday with D-Dubs live stream. It was an early morning one, and I just made a comment. I said, I really, that, essentially saying that it was a good, issue 1 was a good setup, and then issue 2 really got its hooks in me. And he replied, and he said that it really, in essence, issues 1 and issues 2 are issues 1A and 1B. It's just that they didn't do an oversized issue for the first issue, because it really, to get the full concept of what the story is about, you really do need to read the first 2 issues. So what he said makes absolute sense, because it's exactly what I felt when I read issue 2. I was like, okay, I get this, and it emotionally hits home. It's the story of, essentially, there's a daughter that is in peril, and the parents trying to figure out how to save their daughter. Their daughter's in a coma, and she is, she's breathing, she's alive. She's just not waking up. And the art duty split is the idea that Danny Warren Johnson is handling the real world side of things, and then Riley Rossimo is drawing the art of when they enter their daughter's dreams, their daughter Penny. So when they enter her dreams, that's when the Riley Rossimo's kind of more fantastical art style comes into play, because it's this dream world, and you learn more about the characters that populate that dream world, and it's just this is awesome. Like, I really if the first issue made me say, yeah, that's good, the second issue made me say, okay, I definitely want to read this, and it really hooked me. So recommend that one for sure. And then the last comic I picked up, because again, I don't know, it's the second printing for The Moon is Following Us #1. It has a Daniel Warren Johnson cover, and I just think it's cool because there are a lot of fun character designs in the book, and mostly, especially when they're in this the dream world, that's all Riley drawing them. So I like seeing Danny Warren Johnson's take on those characters, and you don't see his drawing them in the book because of the way that the art is split. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to then going back and reading the first issue again, knowing some of the things that you find out in the second issue, and yeah, and that's a sign of a good series. It makes you want to, like, oh, okay, let me go back and see, make those connections a little quicker, because I have more of a story, and like I said, the really issues 1 and 2 go hand in hand. So yeah, that was a good week, and I spent more than I spent more than the new issue that I actually read would show. So whatever. I mean, there's certain variants that I just think make sense. I'm not gonna, chase a whole bunch of the variant covers. But when it's an artist that I really like the Frankenstein, Francavilla, actually, yeah, there's a Dracula and a Planet of the Apes. Other side of the room, there's a Frankenstein and a Halloween. So, um, I really like his art style, and to have the connecting covers of those are really cool. And the Moon is Following Us. It just makes sense to get the Daniel Warren Johnson and the Riley Rossimo covers because of the way that it's a shared story that they're telling. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you soon.